Hey guys, it's Ryan here with another episode of Blockchain Markets, the channel where we talk about cryptocurrency investments and blockchain projects in general. So before I start, I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the channel so you can get the next videos, and also to like it so you can spread the knowledge through the web about cryptocurrencies and this awesome technology called blockchain. So today we're going to go on with a series of blockchain basics, and we're going to talk about Ethereum. What's Ethereum and why should you care? Where is it going to and what does it do? So Ethereum was basically a project started by a cryptocurrency researcher called Vitalik Buterin. The guy was basically working on as a researcher on Bitcoin in the open source project, and then he thought, well, Bitcoin has two things, like what we said in the previous video. It has its digital currency, but it's also a technology. It's also a blockchain technology. So then let's focus on that side of things. And he thought, well, let's use that technology to create a platform where people can build things on top of. So then he released a white paper called a next generation smart contract and decentralized application platform. Now that sounds a bit difficult, but it's basically a blockchain 2.0. It's basically an evolution of Bitcoin. And as you see, the guy or Ethereum introduces two new concepts. One, the concept of smart contracts, and the concept of decentralized apps. This is pretty easy to explain. Decentralized apps are basically apps that run on top of the blockchain, which is already a decentralized system. So think of iOS. So in iOS it's a centralized system because you have Apple, who is controlling who comes in, who sells what, and which app gets in there. In this system, you have, as the name says, decentralized apps. You can build an app on top of Ethereum, and it uses the underlying technology, blockchain, so it becomes a decentralized app. We'll talk more about decentralized apps in a next episode. And smart contracts, what are smart contracts? Is basically a contract that is being done through a piece of code. So let's say, and this was very popular, and then I'm sure you've heard about ICOs. So ICOs, initial coin offering. Now you've heard maybe that there are many scams, or there are many companies, startups that raised a lot of money using ICOs to raise. So that works basically like this. So I issue my token on Ethereum's platform, and it's called an ERC20 token. And basically what I put in that contract is, for every Ether that I get, or for every Bitcoin, in this case, let's say Ether, for every Ether that I get, I will send you 10,000 coins of my coin, of blockchain markets coin, for example. And that's executed automatically. Now you can apply that concept to many different things. And then you just have to look at all the decentralized apps that are working there, so you can get an idea of what is possible and what things can be done. Now, moving forward, if you would like to think, how much money could I have made if I would have invested in Ethereum at the very beginning on the ICO stage? Now, this is how much you could have made, and this is how much the return on that investment would have been.
So you get an idea of how much money you could have made if you would have invested on Ethereum on an early stage. Let's take a look at how much it has developed. So this is the price in dollars for today. Today is April the 3rd, 2018. So let's look at the graph first. This is the all-time. You see, it reached a max of almost $1,400. So now let's go and then let's see how much you would have made if you would have invested in the ICO. Now, you would have made also a lot of money afterwards. Of course, you would have made much more if you would have invested at the ICO, and that's why I'm very much in favor of ICOs. Not of all of them, because there are many bad ones, but the good ones is where you find the multipliers. Is where you can make a lot of money. So moving forward, if you would have invested here, you would have made money. If you would have invested here, you would have made money. But now let's go back in time until in July of 2014. So let's go to Ethereum. The ICO of Ethereum happened between July and August 2014. And this is how much it cost you at the time, 1 Ether, so $0.311. Now, this is the multipliers you could have got, which is insane. Now let's do an example of how much money you would have made if you would have invested only $1,000 at the time. So we see it's 128,667% divided by 100. So it's, now you can see it's more than 1,000x. So more than 1,000 times your money. So let's say if you would have invested $10,000 in 2014 in Ethereum's ICO, you would have now almost $1.3 million. Now, of course, not these gains are just you won't find these gains in all the ICOs. It's just in a few of them, and that's why I think it's so important that you are part of a community that are people that don't bullshit you and trying to sell you an ICO, but people that are serious about this and would like to give you the pros and cons of every ICO or every existing coin that you find in the market. So, and that's why we have the community of blockchain markets, so you can actually talk to people and see what others say, not just one person, not just me, but other like-minded people, also people that are serious about crypto investment. So this is the money. With $1,000 you would have made 1.3 million if you would have invested in Ethereum's ICO.